Thank you, President Badawi. Thank you, Dr. Tejani. As Dr. Tejani said, I have written a 2-volume biography of Mahatma Gandhi. And it so turns out that on a rainy September day in 1931, Gandhi came to a friend's house to speak. Today is a rainy September day, 4 years later. But inside is joy, because the weather outside is London, what we have inside is SOAS. And when I look at the wonderful graduating class of 2025, I'm reminded of when I graduated 51 years ago, and what bearing that might have on your trajectory as you go forward. London is a great world city, rich in its diversity. And of course, there is only one London. But among the cities that come close is the city I studied in, New Delhi. And I actually studied in the older part of Delhi, which has, and India is probably the most diverse country in the world. So we had students in our public university, which is a public university like yours is, from all across India, the subcontinent, diverse in language, religion, cuisine, ways of life, philosophies. Delhi itself has an older history than London because there are many, many cities. And one of the extraordinary things about Delhi, which is part of the everyday, so the citizen of Delhi does not notice it, is that the street signs in Delhi are in 4 languages, indeed in 4 different scripts. So they're in English, they're in Hindi, they're in Gurmukhi, and they're in Urdu. And I grew up with a sense of this diversity, this inherited diversity. And I graduated 51 years ago. And if there is one, shall we say, lesson I've learned from my life as a wandering writer and scholar across India and across the world, is to cherish, nurture, and welcome this diversity, including the diversity of opinions and ways of thought. We live in a world today which is riven by anger, xenophobia, ideological certitude, black and white. And for me, it's always been valuable, interesting, nurturing, educative to have debates and arguments with people of different points of view, people in different professions. I think it's, and as you go forward, as you enter into the journey of life, beyond the university, in the university you would have encountered, in a place like SOAS, as the President and Lord Hastings has reminded us, a great diversity of cultures represented in the students. But it's also absolutely crucial, as you journey through life, to be mindful and careful, not merely to hang around with people like you, who have your views, your opinions, your prejudices, your biases, which may be passionately held, which may come from experience, from knowledge, but the world is many-sided. There is a concept in Indian philosophy, which comes from Jaina thought, called anekantavad. Truth is many-sided. And one can never arrive at the complete truth as a human being. One can arrive at something that is less than untruth. And that comes from engaging and debating and conversing with people different from yourselves. I was fortunate not to marry an academic. I fell in love with a designer who inhabits a very different world from me. When we fell in love 45 years ago, she was to the right of me. Now she's to the left of me. And so we've had most interesting conversations because it's not just about politics, but about language, about nationalism, about art, about history. And I think that's what I would urge you to look for as in your journey through life. To embrace people of different points of view and engage with them. I started with Mahatma Gandhi, and I'll end with Mahatma Gandhi. During the pandemic, a very great American, who was also a very great world citizen, Representative John Lewis died. Congressman John Lewis died. John Lewis was a stalwart of the civil rights movement. In the generation after Dr. King, he was arguably the most committed, courageous, exemplary leader. In the celebrated March on Selma, of which now there's a film, he had his skull cracked by racist policemen and almost died. And he died during the pandemic, and I was looking at the tributes to him, and there were clips of what he said, and someone asked him about his debt to Gandhi, because he came to India to learn more about Gandhi, who had been the mentor of his mentor, who had been King's mentor. And he said, I studied Gandhi, I went to the places he lived in, I read his works, and what I learned from him was how to disagree without being disagreeable. And I think that's a very beautiful message for all of us. We must be able to disagree without being disagreeable. Thank you very much.